Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we are going to take up second session of Christopher Marlowe, Timbaland the Great. Prior to take up the basic characteristics of the play, let me introduce some of the facts of our playwright. Christopher Marlowe, who was also known as Kit Marlowe, was an English playwright, poet, translator of Elizabethan era. Marlowe was foremost Elizabethan tragedian of his time, hailing from University Wits. He was the greatest Shakespearean predecessor. Let's discuss some of the important works of Christopher Marlowe. He composed Timbaland the Great Part 1 in 1587, Part 2 in 1587 and 88. His major work, The Jew of Malta, was composed in 1589. Dr. Faustus, one of his famous plays, was composed in 1589. Then he wrote Edward II, and finally The Massacre of the Paris in 1593. Let's discuss the typical feature of Marlowe drama. His drama is known as Marloweesque, one-man type of a tragedy revolving around a one central character who is consumed by his lust of. What's the plot of the play? Dear students, as you know that story of Temur, or Tatar, who emerged as a shepherd chief who initially rebelled and then triumphed over Persian king. Intoxicated and crazy for his success, Temur rushes like a tempest over the whole east. Later on, affected with a disease, he attacks and fights against the gods and claims to overthrow them as he has overthrown earthly rules. Timbaland seems more than an epic than a drama. What are the various influences that shape the mentality and psyche of Christopher Marlowe? He was extremely influenced by Ovid, Virgil, and Machiavelli. He initiated change in subject matter of the play, character, blank verse, unity subject matter of the play to the higher level. Spirit of adventure we can trace in his work, individualism, emotions and sentiments, greatness and littleness of a human life. The second part of his work is characterization. He assigned life and reality to his character. His characters are not only mere puppets, but real human beings. We can feel intense exaltation of a conqueror and a vibrant passions. He use of blank verse. Prior to Marlowe, plays were formless and provided unity to drama. He energized drama and gave coherence to the genre of drama. Is the main character of the play. Timbaland is the main character of the play. He is initially a shepherd who manages to conquer Turkey and then other countries. He is described as extremely proud man, considering himself as God, bigger than Mehmet and chosen by the gods to rule over everyone. When referring about himself, he always mentions himself being the great Timbaland. Dear students, let's discuss some of the important personages and characters of the play. Amorous, Timbaland's successor to the throne. Amorous is a young version of Timbaland. Khosrow attempts to overthrow his brother by plotting with Timbaland. The next character is Zenocrate, an Egyptian princess whom Timbaland captures. She instantly impressed with him, even though she was supposed to marry someone else. Mycetes appears in the first part of the play as the king of Persia. He is a coward and admits that he is not wise enough to be a king. Callapine manages to remain alive and unconquered by Timbaland. Bajazeth, he is the emperor of Turkey in the first part and captured and conquered by Timbaland. Orcans a fierce enemy of Tamerlane, and he is king of Anatolia before Tamerlane captures him. Caiaphas is one of the Tamerlane's son, and he is different from other two brothers. And other important characters of the play are King of Arabia, Governor of Damascus, Governor of Babylon. Dear students, Tamerlane was written in two parts. It could be said that fervor of Renaissance had compelled Marlowe to compose such plays. In Elizabethan England, stage drama prevailed not only to gain fame but also to describe the courtly manners. From Tamerlane and Faustus to Edward II, he has depicted the fall of overreacher. As Marlowe's life ended in a tragic incident of a street brawl, his Tamerlane, his Faustus are captivated this kind of tragical episodes. Dear students, historically speaking, the 16th century was a period of many victories, a few defeats of Ottoman in their struggle against the Europeans, as they had well-armed and highly disciplined army. Tamerlane the Great Part 1 and Part 2 were the first plays Christopher Marlowe wrote for Elizabethan audience with a specific purpose. The Marlowean stage lets its audience enter a landscape filled with a stranger and strange land as the prologue of Tamerlane leads us to the stately tent of war. Stand for exalted, enthusiastic, and overestimated character. Marlowe was interested in overreachers, people who tried to break out the confines of their lives. For example, Tamerlane sought limitless rule, Barabbas, the Jew of Malta, wanted fabulous wealth, Mortimer in Edward II wanted kingship, and Faustus yearned for limitless knowledge. The terms come from Marlowe's The Massacre of Paris, in which the guys who like I best that flies beyond my reach. Students, the 16th century had witnessed the rise of brilliant men from the humbler region in a way unheard of previously. It is possible to see Tamerlane and Faustus as of two new Renaissance men exhibiting a profound discontent with a controversial past. In Marlowe's play, there is a little to distinguish the heroes from villain. The main character, the protagonist, is simply the most exciting individual who delivers the best lines. Renaissance tragedy is meant to deal with a high-born protagonist, not self-made men. Tamerlane is modeled on Senecan Hercules. Like Hercules, Tamerlane considered himself as a demigod, a potential rival to gods. Tamerlane's attitude towards gods changes continually. He boasts of their favor. He defies them. He likens himself to them. He executes their will. He waits for them to receive him into their domain. And finally, he threatens to conquer heaven. Dear students, Tamerlane is presented as a man who rose from rustic obscurity to imperial greatness. He triumphed in Part 1 over one ruler after another, and from Mycetes, king of Persia, to Bajazeth, emperor of Turks, and the Sultan of Egypt, and then in Part 2, the kings or governor of Anatolia, Hungary, Bohemia, Jerusalem, and Babylon. Tamerlane, in other words, a self-made man who exploits what English audience understood to be the gospel of Niccolo Machiavelli, might makes right. When he lays siege to a fortress, he displays his banner of white, red, black on succeeding days, offering at first mercy to those who surrender and then death to all but women and children, then total mayhem. Were performed in separate years. The first ends with the Tamerlane supremely powerful. His ruthlessness has been vindicated along with its subversive suggestion that any ordinary man could do the same if sufficiently ready to practice. Tamerlane's scorched earth methods, and moreover, Tamerlane's eventual death in Part 2 is not clearly the result of a divine retribution. The climax in a play or drama arises from intense conflict, and if conflict is of a gigantic nature, it is true of Tamerlane. the warrior and issue in literature for centuries, but their relevance is still present as we are in the globe today facing a worse war. The two remarkable Renaissance dramatists are Marlowe and Shakespeare. Chamberlain the Great completes every definition of a tragedy, modern, ancient, and medieval, with reference to Aristotelian concept of tragedy. Marlowe thus takes an archetypical image of a divine punishment of a human pride and turns it on its head, with the fates in chains and man in charge. Nature, that frames us of four elements, doth teach us all to have aspiring minds. Our soul, whose faculties can comprehend the wondrous architecture of the world and measure every wandering planet's course, still climbing after knowledge infinite, until we reach that ripest fruit of all, the sweet fruition of an earthly crown.